When it comes to 5D mysticism, I want it to be clear before you keep tuning in. It's all about a functional adult, a person who has an integrated brain. So that means we are able to use our verbal chit-chatter, left part of the brain, left mode. The right part, the right mode has all the emotional stuff comes up. And there's also to say that two function differently. In one, you break things down to understand them better. And in the other, you actually are able to have things sit and just be there. And I got to learn about the brain and the mind, and I'm still finishing up my interpersonal neurobiology course by Daniel Siegel. So you can look him up. It's on the Mindsight Institute, or just look up Daniel Siegel, Mindsight Institute, interpersonal neurobiology, and you can learn about the mind, the brain, and how it works. And it's really great. He also has some great books. So integration of the brain is the optimized way that a person can function. So mental health. And in fact, that's the functional adult, emotionally speaking, because when sensations come up, not only that embodied brain, it's a nervous system and a brain, the sensations come up, and it's from that right mode that they come up, if you will. And I know it sounds weird because we're not a machine, but long story short, the way structural dissociation works is that the charged states and emotion sensations, stuff comes up. If you haven't moved into being a functional adult, means that technically, like when you watch those movies where they're all like, angry at somebody in the shower. And so Patrick Tiahan does a better job at explaining aspects of charged states from childhood trauma. Now, not everyone has the level of abuse or neglect of childhood trauma. However, we all have charged states, and some call it parts. So the 5D mystic, on that note, is a person who does not use their charged states or their unresolved trauma, the sensations. They learn how to harness, and really you learn how to use your left and right, because you start to journal or have chit chat in one way, shape, or form. You move out of a shame cycle, inner critic, outer critic, denying what comes up with alcohol, sex, food, drugs, video games all the time, locking yourself up in the room, stuff like that. There's different types of attachment styles, attachment categories. So we have attachment wounds, potentially, people, human beings, and then there's trauma and trauma wounds. And then there's these charged states. So there's a lot of different components. I'm pseudoscience lady because I don't put them all in order, but I bring together human, spiritual, and spirituality elements for my 5D mystics who are inclined to be already loving. So with or without any knowledge of somatics, trauma informed, without any of this, there's the inclined heart of I'm a human being. We all are. But the inclination is because you're comfortable with all the 6 basic emotions that come up. So whether you get anger, sadness, anxiety, anxiety isn't part of the 6 basic, but that's anxiety and sadness and anger are threat emotions. They protect us. So I'm just using the ones that we also have. With anger, automatic thinking that leads people to stay in this thing of certainty with it. There's a whole bunch of things you could learn from, where is my book? Russell Coates is the one about managing anger. Then we have Poly Secure for anybody who wants to know good stuff about attachment. And on that note, back to why I was trying to begin here. So I do this and that on our episodes as well. And I like doing this and that. And people who are integrated brains follow just okay, because they're present. They're not trying to use their left mode to organize everything. They're just listening. So this is the other thing about emotional maturity, is that you're not trying to prove yourself in a conversation. Adaptive children try to prove they're right, or then they think they're wrong. There's a way that there's competition because there's not empowerment. There's a different modality from the body of a person who's not yet completely integrated their brain. While integration of the brain is all hands on deck. Again, thank you, Daniel Siegel. Default mode network downregulated, and your ventral vagal nervous system, your social engagement system is online. And I didn't do much yoga, but yoga is a portfolio of ventral vagal nerve toning. So when people work on their ventral vagal, that's one step to becoming, if you want, a 5D. You don't have to, because really it's only a dimension of compassion beyond a reason. And here's why we're those Zen masters. So on all of these little notes, and our full moon is coming in, we do have clairs. They're not special. They're not gifts. Neuroscience community, I'm still learning from you, and physicists. And then we get to talk about energy. So there's so many ways we can talk about consciousness without diminishing what our experience is as mystics, but also without diminishing the scientific methodology. We are not flat earthers, and unfortunately those beautiful people who use their brain are using it to disprove something or try to disprove something for whatever reason, as other people who keep making like long content posts on like aliens. And I'm like, wow, we haven't even met them yet physically, but you have so much material. It's amazing how many people are spending their hours on storytelling. Let me remind you, Enlightenment Soul Age Group, So the community, IHP, is 5D Mystics, Enlightenment Soul Age Group Inclined. So we tap into infinite higher human consciousness potential experiences. So we like to support each other to expand beyond the horizons, which means we're not using the ancients or the stories, and we're using as best as we can the scientific people that give us the good education, and we don't mesh it all and like say, oh, you're reptilians or mammalian. We're all mammals. We all have the attachment system in our brain. I know some people really wish that they were different and special from the stars, but we all kind of are from the stars. So long story short, 5D Mystics in the Enlightenment Soul Age Group Inclined, as this full moon comes about, we're getting our community together because we're moving into the future. No, we're in the now right now, and we get to try and come all together and keep on saving the earth with the air, the water, the food. Then we want to try and get people to stop being so much against each other. The groups, those are all adoptive children. They have a list of demands, so they can't say shit to your face and hug it out. No, those are not the types of friends that they are. We instead are definitely like, you can do whatever you want. Just don't physically touch me. We'll be good with your adoptive child charge states because there's an inner child wound that you're not tending to, but it's okay because your insecure attachment style is not going to be effective in the sense of it's your attachment style, not mine, and it's not a problem. It's your way of life. And if you don't learn how to inner nurture yourself and you don't care to bring heaven in your body because you don't believe in the trauma-informed stuff, well, what can we do? So there's many different ways that a 5D mystic can approach any conversation. As an adaptive child weaponizes their words, trying to tell you you're evil because you don't want to give in to some thought that they had about politics or government or what religion, whoever knows what it is. It's that important to them. It's not existential to us, but to them, they have to prove they're right because otherwise, so again, that's a side note. We understand the 2-year-old because I'm a 2-year-old too when I get all passionate. The difference is here. As Patrick Teahan says, most people don't know what a healthy relationship is. So let me share, because functional adults do. We're present. That means we're not going to make assumptions of whatever you're thinking, because I'm a differentiated self. Here's my island. You're an island. The ocean may connect us, that collective consciousness. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh, also 5D love buttons. We don't lose power. We always have it. And the reason is we don't lose unconditional love, which is Purusha, and we don't lose the knowledge of our own body, which is Prakriti. So we embody brain, moving into integration straightforward, because when charge states come up, guess who's feeling it? And who's not shoving it down with alcohol, sex, food, drugs, and pretending like everything's okay. The person who's going to use the brain, but not with the inner critic and outer critic, which is a shame cycle, and keeps you in this little loop of withdrawing and then ruminating, and that's a biochemistry of fear, and your brain is all taken over by the limbic system. So 5D mystics, we don't sit in our brains ruminating about stuff. We actually say, let me think. Oh, I'm upset. Yeah, this happened. Oh, okay, Dharma, Dharma, for real, not pretend, and it doesn't matter how old you are. So here, healthy relationships are yes, no, maybe, not really. Let's treat each other with respectful words. Do not weaponize, please, if you do. The smart ones know how to handle, even in the absence of all the trauma-informed stuff. I could easily say, you know what, you and I, we have different ways of loving. It's okay. I'm an unconditionally lover. You can be your conditional lover, and we're going to part ways because humanity is awesome. 5D mystics are healthy relationships because we do not shame, blame, fault, or revenge. That's adaptive child, meaning unresolved trauma. So we have compassion, not because of some entity and some not being able to tap into. No, it's because I'm a human, you're a human. I have a heart, you have a heart. The minute that you poke me and you haven't poked me to love me is the minute that I'll know that. And as long as you're not a physical threat, it's okay. So healthy boundaries are from adult to adult. If there's adoptive children, that's where drama land is for 4D, 3D, other soul age groups. We can talk about that one, but the enlightenment community is trying to build, to walk the walk, talk the talk, and say, it's okay if you threw shit in my face. I love you anyways, but here are the deals. Don't do it anymore, thank you. You can't? Okay, well, it was really nice spending time with you. I'm so grateful, and we'll see you tomorrow. No, maybe we won't. We can agree to disagree in a very straightforward, flexible way. That's integration of the brain.